Hi, my name is Alex and welcome to the Crochet Circle.
In this video tutorial, I want to show you how to make a standing double crochet stitch. I know it's a bit odd name, but you're gonna soon see that it is really easy to make and it's invisible when you're making a granny square in each row of a different color because you can actually not see where the row begins. And I think that's the clue for us to begin. So now that I have my cotton yarn ready and my 3mm crochet hook, I can begin. So the centerpiece is gonna be in bright pink, and I'm gonna begin with a magic ring. For a magic ring, yarn twice around my thumb, I go in and grab the loop and make chain 3. Now this one already counts as the first double crochet. Now I need to do 2 more double crochets and a chain 1, 3 more double crochets, and a chain 1, another 3 double crochets, chain 1, another 3 double crochets, one more last chain 1, and I can cut the yarn. First I'm gonna close up the magic ring, so I just pull the yarn. I have my 4 corners. I'm pulling the yarn through and joining it invisibly with the third of the chains from the chain 3 in the beginning. And because it's an invisible join, I'm actually not going in to the third chain. I'm going into the first double crochet because I want to overlay the chain 3 part. And I'm going back from where I started, pulling it tight. And all I have to do now is hide the end tail in. And once this first row will be done, then it's gonna be time to start with the standing double crochet. Now, because this is gonna be a granny square with the flip, with a twist, I want to flip my work around, and I'm actually gonna be doing all the stitches in the back side. So the base is now back side up, and I'm taking my second color. Now for the standing double crochet, what you have to do is you have to go twice around your crochet hook and then work from there. But as you can see, you can go in so that the starting tail is on top, or you can go in as the starting tail is on the bottom. Now the right thing is the starting tail has to be on the bottom. I'm gonna show you again. Let's just focus a bit more. So I'm going in. Now that's the wrong one. You see the starting tail is at the bottom of my crochet hook. I have my twice around the needle, still on the needle. I'm holding it tight with the thumb, and I'm going into one of those chain 1 spaces, As you can see, I already pulled the yarn through the chain, so I have now 3 loops on my needle, and then I just go and make a double crochet. And that's it. Now the end tail is loose, so try keeping hold of it, and then just continue with row number 2, and row number 2 will be, it's just the corners. Actually, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna do it again because I didn't pull tight enough my last stitch, so I want all the stitches to be nicely and same size, so now it's much better. Now this round 2 is just 4 corner stitches. A corner stitch is 3 double crochets, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets, and all the stitches are done in the chain 1 of the previous row. In between I'm not doing any chains, just going from one corner into the other, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Now that's the third corner. And the last corner. Now the last corner is done. I can cut the yarn and join it invisibly, so I just pulled it through. I'm gonna use my needle. Again, I'm not going in to the standing double crochet, I'm going into the second stitch because I'm overlaying the first stitch and going back from where I came from and pulling it tight. Now all I have to do is secure it. Yes, I know, it makes noises sometimes. And once more. Now that's the end tail done. All I have to do now is hide the starting tail. Again, I'm using my needle, going through the stitch down to the base, and now hiding it in to the corner because it's the easiest way to hide it in. You can go up and down the stitch. Because everything is in the same color, you don't actually see where it's going through. And I can cut the yarn. So this is now 2 rows done. Going next into the third row again, I'm flipping around the work, grabbing my yarn. Again, I'm not going with my hook, so I have the starting tail on top of it. I have to go in, so I have yarn twice around my hook, and the starting tail is coming from the bottom of my hook. And I'm just going in. Now in between these two corner stitches, a standing double crochet, in between those two corner stitches I have to do a cluster of 3 double crochets and then a corner, and then that's row number 3. I still need to do 2 more rows then, so you still have time to perhaps see again how to do the standing double crochet stitch. Now in between two corners I'm just doing a cluster of 3 double crochets. Now that's a corner is 3 double crochets, chain 1, and another 3 double crochets. Now in between two corners there's just 3 double crochets. In the corner 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Now of course if you don't want to flip your work, you don't have to. Why I'm flipping the work is because at the end, if I'm making a larger granny square, it doesn't pull to one side, so it's much of a nicer square shape. And that's it. So I can cut the yarn, pull the yarn through, I'm not going into the first double crochet, I'm going into the second double crochet because I'm overlapping the first double crochet, I'm overlapping the standing double crochet, pulling the yarn tight so it has the same size as the stitch. And now I have to just work it in. Now if you want you can make a knot. I usually don't make knots because I'm just working the end tails in, and even if you're just working the end tails in, if you go up and down and left and right, it's I think secured enough. But if you feel much safer with a knot, just make a knot, and I would suggest doing it in the corner because you have plenty of space there to hide it in. Now that's the end tail done. Now all I have to do is get rid of the starting tail. I'm going down the stitch, going across, now I'm going up the stitch, and I'm going into the corner and down, and now I have plenty of space to just hide it in. And that's it. Now that's 3 rows done. Grabbing my green one for the next row. Again, this is wrong. The starting tail should come from the bottom. So from the bottom, twice around my crochet hook. Again, I'm flipping my work around. I'm just gonna, you can start on the left or on the right side. I would suggest not starting in the corner, to be honest. Other than that, it doesn't matter where you start. And this is now the standing double crochet done. And because it's the piece between the two corners, I have to do 3 double crochets in it. Now in the corner, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Now in row number 4, I have 2 spaces where I need to put in the clusters of 3 double crochets between the 2 corners. So yes, the easiest way to remember how to do a granny square is you have corners and you have stitches between the corners. Now I am doing a corner with 3 double crochet in a chain 1, but you can also find other patterns, for example where you have to do 3 double crochets and chain of 3, or 3 double crochets and a chain of 2, and in between the 2 corners you have to do a chain 1 and then a cluster of 3 double crochets. But I'm just skipping those chain 1s between those clusters because I want to use these granny squares for a coin purse, and I don't want my coin purse to have any larger holes, so that's why I'm using the just a little bit adjusted pattern where the number of chains in between the stitches is reduced to, I would say, the minimum. I am also gonna show you how to make a half double or a half granny squares, because what did I say now? I want to show you how to make one half of a granny square, but that's just not gonna be the top or the bottom half. I want to cut it into the diagonal, so this is gonna be one of the next videos because of the project I'm currently working on. So the coin purse is gonna be nicely secured with the flap and everything else. Now I am at the last stitch now, so I can cut the yarn, pulling the yarn through. Now I'm not joining it with the double crochet, with the standing double crochet. I'm going into the next stitch, overlaying the double crochet stitch and going back to where I started from, pulling the stitch so it has the same size. Now I'm going down the stitch into my work. I'm going to the other side of the cluster of 3, then I'm going up and over into the corner and down, and working the end tail into the corner. And that's it. Now I have to get rid of the starting tail, so I'm securing my yarn down to the stitch and then going over And now up the stitch into the corner, and once in the corner I can just nicely secure it because there's so much more space to do it. Now this is 4 rows done. I need just one more row for my granny square. I've been working on this side, so now I have to flip it around, and I'm grabbing my blue yarn. Again with the standing double crochet. This is wrong because the starting tail is coming from the top. I have to go in and have 2 loops around my crochet hook, and the starting tail should be coming from the bottom. Again, I'm just going in, grabbing the yarn, pulling the loop. I have 3 loops on my crochet hook, and now I can just do a double crochet. Now that's the first one. Now I need to do 2 more because I'm here at the stitch between the 2 corner stitches. Okay, so now what I have to do is just finish this row. So the corner is 3 double crochets and a chain 1 and another 3 double crochets, and this one is done in the chain 1 of the previous row of the corner, and in between the corner stitches and the clusters of 3 there is a small gap where I'm making in just 3 double crochets. As you saw, here's my yarn joined together. I think it's gonna hold. Actually no, I'm gonna make a new knot here because this one is a bit large. So yeah, it happens that your yarn has a knot because this is cotton and it comes from smaller, bigger skeins, and sometimes sometimes you get a knot inside and it's nothing wrong. So I've left a bit longer strands here just so I'm gonna be able to work them in. It's really unlucky if you're making a huge project and in the middle of it you get a knot, but it happens. So when it comes to that, you just kind of want to minimalize how it's done and how you actually hide the end tails in. Now if you have rows going from left to right, you definitely want to have the joining of the thread or the yarn at the start or in the beginning, so you can then hide the end tails or the knot in. But as you can see, I was able to hide my knot in completely, so all is good. Now if I would get another knot, that would be really unlucky, but I think I'm over that at the moment. Now this is the last cluster of 3. And I can cut the yarn, pull the yarn through and join it invisibly. So I'm not going into the standing double crochet, I'm going into the next stitch because I'm overlapping the standing double crochet, and I'm going back from where I came from. I'm making the stitch the same size, and now I want to go with a stitch into the other corner, so I'm going down to the other one and then up the stitch and down the next one and to the other side, and now up and down the stitch, and now I can hide it in. Okay, so that's the first one hidden. Now that's from the knot, it's already hidden inside as well, so I don't have to worry about it. I just need to fix the starting tail. I'm going down the stitch. And I want to get into the corner because it's much easier to securely place it there. Now, if you're gonna be making larger granny squares with more rows, you just continue the same way as I already showed you. But, and this is the size of a granny square that I need. I have 1, 2, 3 granny squares already done. I need the fourth one. The fourth one is gonna be in a solid color, and it's gonna be in one of the corners. It's gonna have a much larger loop or a hole. I'm gonna do a few more chains because it's gonna be a flap, and I want the flap to be able to go through a button, so it's gonna be securely closed. So I showed you how to make a standing double crochet stitch and how to use it to make a granny square. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next time I'm gonna say happy crafting!